Welcome back to the Deep Dive. You've handed us quite a stack of source material today. It feels less like planning and more like, well, immediate fallout, really.
Yeah, it's mapping out a week that honestly looks like a full-scale emotional detonation across, the Forrester and Logan landscapes.
Absolutely. We're not just wading into the drama here. We're diving headfirst into what looks like the explosion itself.
It really is a study in parallel crises, isn't it? On one side, you've got this complete, just catastrophic implosion of a major wedding, and it's fueled by years of all that cyclical resentment we always talk about.
Right.
And then completely separate, there's this other storyline with Luna and Will featuring some truly, well, unhinged escalating behavior, stuff that's crossing clear legal boundaries.
That's right. So our mission today, it's pretty surgical, actually. We need to quickly but thoroughly distill the motivations, the mechanics of these imminent conflicts, and maybe the historical weight behind it all. Specifically, the fallout from Ridge deciding to dump Taylor after promising a wedding. And then this totally separate but, wow, equally messy scandal with Luna, Will, and this disturbing stalking pattern.
And these sources, they're giving us intensely detailed, almost like forensic predictions for the coming week. They show the exact domino effect, leading to multiple confrontations, these multi-generational disagreements.
Yeah.
And several key characters are apparently on the brink of what the internal documents are calling a full unraveling.
And unraveling, that sounds ominous.
It's a very high-stakes moment for characters who, rely on control. And they're about to completely lose it.
Okay, let's unpack this central conflict right away then, because it involves a huge broken promise and, well, the weaponization of a potential medical crisis. Yeah. So the drama kicks off immediately. Our intel suggests Ridge's final reversal. It's delivered pretty bluntly.
Right, no beating around the bush this time.
He's reiterating to Taylor, in basically no uncertain terms, that he can't move forward with their wedding. Yeah. After weeks of leading her on, he's just pulling the rug out.
The cruelty is really in the timing, isn't it? I mean, he had weeks, maybe months after that whole Italy epiphany to deal with this. And yet he chose to keep up the charade, knowing full well the emotional investment Taylor and Steffi and Thomas had put into this.
Yeah, it's not just a breakup.
No, it feels like a strategic betrayal. Richard was essentially living a lie because he lacked the courage to face Taylor earlier. That's what it looks like.
And Taylor, as predicted, she immediately shifts from heartbreak into what the sources are calling pure defiance.
Yeah, she refuses to accept it. The internal documents specifically state she tells Ridge she won't let him do this.
Won't let him? That's strong language.
It really is. It indicates this deep refusal to give any ground. She seems prepared to use every tool she has, emotional, historical, maybe even manipulative, to stop him finalizing this and running back to Brooke.
That phrase, "I won't let you," it signals something, doesn't it? She's not appealing to his love anymore.
No, it feels like she's appealing to his sense of obligation, maybe guilt, perhaps even fear of the consequences. She's setting herself up as the victim, making it so any consequence that follows is purely Ridge's fault.
It's classic defensive strategy, sure, but here's where the stakes get, really high. Because the sources immediately connect this stress to Taylor's known health issue, broken heart syndrome, BHS.
Ah, yes.
And this isn't just, dramatic flavor. It's a specific recurring medical condition in her story.
And what's fascinating here is the sheer irony, the history of it. Taylor has battled BHS, Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, before. It's often triggered by severe emotional stress.
Right.
And she even brought it up recently in conversation with Ridge, specifically recalled a time where he had supposedly healed her heart during a previous crisis.
She used that memory almost like leverage, didn't she? Reminding him of his past role as her, savior, her protector.
Exactly. And the irony now is just devastating. Ridge, who supposedly helped her heal from emotional trauma before, is now the direct source, the trigger of the exact same kind of trauma.
Wow.
The predictions suggest the stress of this betrayal, him dumping her, it might just be too much. It could absolutely trigger BHS again, maybe more severe health problems.
So this is potentially a life-threatening crisis based solely on relationship decision.
That's the implication. And if we connect that to the bigger picture, the immediate family fallout, it's guaranteed to be catastrophic.
Oh, for Thomas and Steffi.
Yeah.
This is way more than just their parents splitting up again.
They will be beyond furious. The sources say they'll feel Ridge is literally making their mom sick and doing her harm.
You can see why they'd feel that way.
Oh, absolutely. Their protective instincts, which were already sky high because of the wedding, are predicted to go into complete, maybe destructive overdrive.
I mean, if you look at it from their viewpoint, their father lied to their mother for weeks, gave her this hope for a future, only to drop a bomb that could, physically endanger her.
Right. In their very black and white view, this is an act of aggression against Taylor, and it becomes this unforgivable offense that, in their minds, justifies whatever scheming they might do next.
But we have to talk about the strategic angle here, which the sources are really highlighting.
The darker possibility.
Yeah, it raises this really dark question. Is the collapse real, or is it tactical? Our intel introduces the distinct possibility that Taylor might actually fake BHS symptoms.
Or at least exaggerate a genuine episode.
Exactly. To ensure Ridge stays glued to her bedside, just consumed by guilt, and doesn't run straight back to Brooke.
And the rationale is pretty clear and chilling, isn't it? Taylor is predicted to do anything and everything she can to keep that ring and force Ridge to marry her.
So if illness, or even just the appearance of illness, is the only thing that keeps him tethered, keeps him emotionally paralyzed, she might use it.
It's the ultimate guilt trip, basically. Using a real health vulnerability as a weapon.
And this isn't Taylor just inventing a tactic out of thin air, is it? There's precedent here.
A very powerful, very dark precedent. We have to remember the family matriarch, Stephanie Forrester, Ridge's own mother.
Ah, yes. Stephanie.
Years ago, Stephanie famously faked a heart issue, specifically to stop Brooke and Ridge from being together.
That's a critical connection. It ties Taylor's potential actions directly to the manipulative legacy of the Forrester family.
And didn't Taylor recently mention how much Stephanie apparently approved of her and Ridge? How she was a fan of their romance?
She did. So if she's channeling that energy, she might just pull a page right out of Stephanie's playbook.
Yeah.
Use that exact mechanism, the heart ailment, to try and secure her destiny.
By mimicking Stephanie, she maybe secures the moral high ground, at least in her children's eyes, and it guarantees Ridge's immediate immobility. He's trapped.
The manipulative history runs deep there, and the potential use of a fake or even just exaggerated health crisis, it provides this incredibly high-stakes lever.
If she collapses, the whole family focuses on her health, right? Not on Ridge's betrayal. It effectively shields her from the pain and ensures Ridge is trapped by his sense of responsibility.
Okay, so moving on from Taylor's immediate health crisis, whether it's real or, manufactured, we pivot to maybe the largest emotional bomb waiting to go off. Thomas Forrester.
Yeah, Thomas. He's been teetering on the edge since he got back to LA, hasn't he?
He explicitly said his new mission was to be Taylor's watchdog to protect this pending marriage to Ridge. And now that future has just been annihilated.
This is way more than just simple disappointment for him. It feels like an identity crisis for Thomas. The sources are very clear. He came home with significant kind of mysterious baggage.
Right, we saw Brooke and Katie talking about that recently, discussing Thomas's less than stellar behavior of years past.
Exactly. It felt like dramatic foreshadowing, explicitly laying the groundwork for the return of scheming dark Thomas.
And Ridge and Eric both noticed he seemed worried or unhappy last week, didn't they?
They did, suggesting that instability was already bubbling near the surface.
So it sounds like he wasn't just worried about his mom. He might have been fleeing his own problems. And now those problems are meeting this new crisis right at the door.
That seems to be the implication. Let's break down his specific baggage, because this tells us why he might be so dangerous right now. He's clearly not in a good place, emotionally or professionally.
Okay.
So first, his broken engagement to Paris Buckingham. That's a major personal failure, right?
Mm.
Then, he doesn't have his own design line currently. He's feeling professionally adrift. The source described it as like a ship without a port. His Forrester Creations identity is kind of fractured.
And then the big one. The mystery, why his son Douglas didn't come back with him.
Exactly. That absence really suggests unresolved issues, maybe instability that kept Douglas away. We don't know the details yet, but it's hanging over him.
So, okay, you've got a man who is personally humiliated, professionally adrift, emotionally unsettled.
And the pending marriage of his parents was maybe the last stabilizing thing he was clinging to. The promise of the family unit finally being whole again.
So once he finds out Ridge has officially dumped Taylor, the sources suggest this will just open the floodgates.
All that internal chaos gets externalized. And Brooke, she becomes the immediate primary target of his wrath.
Which leads us straight into the predicted confrontation, Thomas versus Brooke.
Based on the intel, Thomas confronts her aggressively, warns her to stay out of the way.
He makes it personal, too, doesn't he? And historical.
Oh, yeah. Reminds her that her interference, in his view, broke up their family years ago, and he makes this forceful declaration, I won't let it happen again.
What's crucial here, too, is the collateral damage. Who else hears this?
Katie. Thomas's strong warning happens within earshot of Katie, and that causes her to worry deeply about how far he will go and, the direct implications for Brooke's safety.
Katie knows the history of Dark Tom.
She does. Seeing him back in full protective mode instantly raises the stakes from just emotional drama to potential physical danger.
Now, there's an interesting detail about the proposal, right?
Yeah.
Brooke tries to use that.
Yeah, it's like she tries to deploy it as a shield. Brooke reminds Thomas that Taylor was the one who actually proposed to Ridge.
Trying to somehow discount the engagement because it wasn't, the traditional male proposal, looking for a technicality.
Seems like it. Anything to defend her position.
But Thomas isn't buying it.
Not at all. His attitude is described as pragmatic and furious, basically. Ridge wouldn't have said yes if he wasn't committed, if he didn't intend to marry her. Who proposed is totally irrelevant to Thomas.
All that matters is the broken promise and his mother's devastation.
Exactly. Now, this brings us to what feels like the strategic nuclear option. Brooke telling the Italy truth.
Right. Katie advised her to do this, didn't she? Since Ridge hadn't been honest.
Yeah, Katie pointed out Ridge's lack of honesty was a vulnerability, especially with Thomas stirring the pot. So Brooke might decide the only way to neutralize things is to preemptively drop the full truth bomb herself.
But is it really the right thing to do? Or is Brooke using this near-death experience purely as, a political weapon?
To preempt Thomas's retaliation, maybe?
Yeah.
And shut down Taylor's potential guilt strategy?
It feels highly tactical, aimed at shattering Taylor's position before Taylor can maybe deploy that BHS defense we talked about.
I think the sources suggest it's weaponized honesty, Brooke may decide telling the full truth is necessary, but knows full well it will probably destroy Taylor's sense of reality.
So the content of the truth, what exactly does she tell her?
She's predicted to tell Taylor the full, unfiltered story, which Taylor hasn't heard, that she almost died in the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay.
That Ridge fished her out, performed life-saving CPR.
Wow.
And that in that critical life or death moment, he had his big epiphany and promised right then to make things right by breaking up with Taylor to be with Brooke.
That is fundamentally different from the watered-down version Taylor probably got from Ridge.
Oh, completely. Brooke is essentially revealing Ridge chose her weeks ago based on this literal life or death realization that supposedly made their connection inescapable.
The anticipated blowback from Taylor,
Hmm.
it's predicted to be massive, visceral.
Her fury will be multi-layered, according to the sources. She'll lash out immediately, accusing Brooke of not being able to keep her claws off him, not respecting the engagement.
Standard accusations. But then,
here's the critical speculation. Taylor may even accuse Brooke of faking the whole incident, or at least exaggerating the danger to manipulate Ridge into making that promise.
so if she can deny the legitimacy of the emergency.
She can deny the legitimacy of Ridge's decision.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And this is where we circle right back to the health crisis again.
It's that recurring, dramatic question the sources keep raising. Could Taylor collapse real or fake heart problems right there, in front of Brooke or Ridge, or maybe both?
Imagine that confrontation. Brooke delivers this devastating, potentially life-altering truth. Taylor denies it, accuses her of lying, and then collapses.
Leaving Brooke holding the bag, looking like she supposedly inflicted this fatal trauma.
It creates a perfect storm of dramatic manipulation and guilt, doesn't it?
Absolutely. If Taylor collapses in front of Brooke, it just reinforces Thomas's narrative that Brooke isn't just interfering, she's literally making their mother sick, maybe even threatening her life.
So Brooke's attempt at honesty could backfire spectacularly. Make her look like the villain, maybe even the murderer of the heart, so to speak.
Precisely. Now, speaking of Thomas, once he processes his father's betrayal and sees his mother potentially endangered, we move into the next big showdown, Thomas versus Ridge.
This was inevitable, wasn't it?
Totally. Thomas will be furious, not just that Ridge chose Brooke, but because Ridge was living a lie, deceiving Taylor for weeks when he'd already decided to walk away.
That damages Thomas's respect for his father pretty irrevocably, you'd think.
Seems like it. He's predicted to confront his father hard, accuse him of moral bankruptcy.
And the betrayal is seen as so fundamental.
That Thomas is predicted to alert Steffi, and together they may wind up scheming against Ridge and Brooke.
Scheming against their own father.
Yes. Thomas might even threaten to blow up the wedding if Ridge actually tries to marry Brooke down the line. He's reverting to full-on, protective, scheming, dark Thomas mode.
But the scheming isn't happening in a vacuum, right? Thomas isn't the only Forrester applying pressure here.
Not at all. Which brings us to the multi-generational showdown. Eric versus Thomas. A situation just dripping with irony and the struggle for, patriarchal control.
This is where the hypocrisy really shines, isn't it?
It really is. Eric previously pressured Ridge to dump Taylor for Brooke. Then he immediately turned around and told Ridge it was not fair for Thomas to pressure him.
Even though Eric was doing the exact same thing. Ridge even called him out on that irony, didn't he? Pointed out Eric was also telling him what to do.
He did. But Eric seems to view his opinion as, sacrosanct. He thinks his opinion is the correct one, that he knows best for his son's destiny.
So the prediction is, Eric confronts Thomas.
Eric may corner his grandson to pressure Thomas to stop pressuring Ridge. It sets the stage for a classic Forrester versus Forrester battle, ideological, emotional, pitting the old guard against the desperate new generation.
And neither of them is likely to back down.
Doesn't sound like it. Eric thinks his view of family destiny, which favors Brooke, should prevail. But Thomas sees Eric's interference as protecting the woman who, in his eyes, destroyed his childhood home.
Thomas won't just sit by while Brooke gets Ridge and breaks his mother's heart again.
No way. The potential result is a standoff that could get really messy, potentially leading to Thomas doing something truly drastic if he feels like everyone, including his own grandfather, is lining up against Taylor.
It's like a Forrester civil war. Both sides claiming the moral high ground, but using manipulation and guilt as their main weapons.
And the future of the Forrester family legacy seems to hang in the balance of Ridge's choices, while everyone around him tries to control the narrative.
It's just the sheer exhaustion of these cycles, isn't it? These two opposing, manipulative forces fighting to control one man's love life, both claiming they're right, while acting purely out of self-interest.
Okay, let's try to execute a thematic bridge here. We've been talking about the high cost of emotional manipulation within the Forrester-Logan elite. Now, let's completely shift focus.
To a separate crisis.
Yeah, one that involves a much more dangerous, almost criminal kind of manipulation. While the Forresters are tearing themselves apart over commitment issues, we have this entirely separate but equally high-stakes drama brewing with Luna and Will.
Right. This storyline feels like it's all about dangerous secrets and just rapidly escalating, genuinely unhinged behavior that carries real legal consequences.
Our intel confirms Leah's actively warning Luna about this, right?
Yes. Warning her that her actions lying about the one-night stand, now actively stalking him, are putting her at dire risk of going back to prison. Going back? That suggests a history the Logans definitely don't know about.
It certainly implies it. And the consequences are compounding. Sheila's worried, too.
But not about Luna's morals, presumably.
No, more about her own survival. If Luna's cover gets blown, Sheila knows she'll be in deep trouble with Deacon because she's been protecting Lena's secret, maybe even facilitating the deception.
So you've got pressure coming from the legal protective side with Lee and the criminal self-interested side with Sheila, both telling Luna to cool it.
Exactly. But Luna, the sources describe her as legit crazy for her actions. She's apparently ignoring all these concerns.
Why? What's driving her?
She seems to be escalating because she views Will as some kind of prize she has to secure no matter what. Her primary motivation, according to the intel, seems to stem from the fact that her initial pregnancy plot didn't pan out.
So she's not just upset, she's determined to make that happen somehow.
It seems that way, and how is she escalating? The sources detail a very specific act of stalking predicted for Thursday. She sends Will another secret admirer stalker text. But it's not just a cryptic message this time. It includes a specific piece of evidence. A picture of the mask she wore that night.
Whoa.
Along with the message that their night together must remain a secret.
That's not subtle. That's a clear, calculated attempt to control him through fear and secrecy.
Absolutely. By sending the mask picture, she's proving she knows who he is, proving she was the woman he slept with. She's establishing control over the secret. It feels like moving from just keeping a secret to actively using it as blackmail.
And her ultimate goal, it remains dangerously clear.
The sources predict she might try again to get pregnant by Will, even suggesting she might resort to getting him drunk or possibly even drugging him.
That shows how desperate and, frankly, detached from reality she's become, willing to cross major ethical and legal lines to achieve forced parenthood.
This behavior is obviously taking a massive toll on Will. He apparently reaches his breaking point on Friday.
Understandable.
The constant fear, the mystery stalker. It drives him to confide in his big brother, Liam. Tells him about the stalker and the mysterious one-night thing.
Oh, Liam. The investigator.
Right. He steps into his classic big brother investigator role, helps Will process the info. They start trying to narrow down where the texts are coming from.
And they figure it out.
Their amateur sleuthing apparently pays off. They figure out the texts are coming from a specific apartment building, narrow it down to one of 3 possible apartments.
So the investigation is moving into real action. Will's going to confront her.
He's ready to face this mystery woman, hoping to shut down the terror. He heads over to the apartment. And the sources include this bizarre detail about him having a cute new haircut.
Vanity amidst the stalking drama. Okay.
Right. So he gets there and starts calling out, for the woman to come out.
This is the critical moment, the high-tension near miss. Luna's inside.
Hiding in the bathroom, apparently. Trapped. Trying to decide if she should reveal herself or keep plotting.
And the sources even question a practical detail.
Yeah. Why wasn't the door locked? Which suggests either panic on her part or maybe an intentional oversight that just heightens the chance of discovery.
The eventual confrontation, when it happens, how is Will predicted to react?
He'll be absolutely horrified to find out his one-night stand, now his stalker, is Luna.
Because it's not just about a secret hookup anymore.
Not at all. It's discovering that someone he knows, someone connected to his family through Deacon and Sheila, is pathologically obsessed with him and capable of criminal behavior. That reveal is going to be catastrophic for him.
And we can't forget the Elektra complication. She adds another layer here.
Right. Elektra's already wondering about Will's increasingly suspicious behavior. The prediction suggests Elektra might actually follow Will to the apartment.
And see Luna?
Critically, yes. The sources suggest Elektra might actually saw Luna hiding there, or maybe entering the apartment.
Wow, so that would mean the secret's out. Not just to Will, but potentially to a third party who has every reason to expose the deception, given Will's history.
Exactly. It just accelerates the timeline for the entire cover-up to collapse, impacting Lee's legal situation, Sheila's relationship with Deacon, and Will's entire peace of mind. The scandal is about to go very public. #Hag outro.
What a monumental week is predicted in these sources. We've walked through 2 massive parallel crises here, and the common thread really seems to be the destructive nature of desperate, intentional manipulation, just trying to control outcomes.
Yeah, exactly. On one side, you've got the dramatic collapse of this highly anticipated wedding, fueled by decades of resentment. You've got Thomas set to go at his father, hard to protect his mother's heart.
Heart that might be, strategically failing.
Right. And Brooke potentially using the truth about a near-death experience as a tactical weapon to defend her own position.
And then, on the completely other side, you have this unhinged character, Luna, leveraging secrecy, stalking, maybe even chemical means to force a pregnancy and secure a relationship.
Driving Will to his breaking point, risking prison for herself and deep trouble for Sheila and maybe Lee, who are trying to protect her.
It all boils down to this struggle for control over destiny, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Every character is refusing to accept an outcome they didn't want.
Taylor might fake a health crisis to trap Ridge. Thomas is threatening violence to preserve his ideal family unit. Luna is employing criminal tactics to force a future with Will.
The ultimate question these sources really force us to think about is consequences. When the truth finally hits the fan, whether it's the full story about Italy or the identity of Will's terrifying stalker.
Which character, having gambled so heavily on deception, will end up paying the highest price for trying to manipulate their desired outcome?
The cost of forcing destiny is always high in these families, isn't it?
It really is. And as we see Thomas threatening this kind of civil war against his own father and grandfather, while Luna's risking going back to prison, it just makes you wonder if any of them will ever learn.
Learn what?
That the moment they choose manipulation over honesty, they usually lose everything they were trying to protect in the first place.
Absolutely. And that dramatic reckoning, well, that's what we'll be watching for. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into a week of unprecedented confrontations and emotional collapse.
We'll see you next time.